Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Cardin, and thank you, Secretary Mnuchin, Administrator Carranza. As many of my colleagues have remarked, this is a rare bright spot of bipartisanship and of partnership that has delivered a lot of relief to millions of businesses and lots of households and families. There are some aspects of our work together that haven't been realized as quickly as many of us had hoped. The EIDL loans have ended up being a challenge to deliver. There's others where there's more work to be done together to make the forgiveness process swift and clear and appropriate. I want to focus for a few minutes on a piece of the CARES Act, the Small Business Debt Relief Act, that maybe has not gotten the visibility it needs and where we could, I think, make some more progress. Before COVID-19, African-American business owners were typically denied bank loans at triple the rate of non-minority business owners. And some of the pressures of this recession are compounding pre-existing inequalities, and that's exactly one of the core reasons I worked and many colleagues worked to get the Debt Relief Act into CARES Title I. It gives 6 months of principal, interest, and free relief for 7A, 504, and micro-lending programs that by definition existed in order to help those who were denied loans elsewhere. Just a quick example, Orange Theory Fitness in Pike Creek, Delaware, right near where I grew up, is a black-owned business that is now saving $9,000 a month because of this automatic debt relief program. I spoke to its owner, Yvonne Gordon, last week, who's been working tirelessly to reopen her small business and to go back to serving customers. But I'm concerned that there aren't enough small businesses that are required, not just eligible, but required by law to receive this benefit. There are some remaining who haven't. So Administrator Carranza, if you would, has the SBA identified all the businesses eligible to receive this automatic relief and who their lenders are? And what are you doing to make sure that every single covered borrower is fully participating in this automatic relief program of 6 months?
We've seen an uptick. It started out with about $1.5 billion, and now it's up to $2 billion that have recognized the principal and the interest and coverage. And so an email was sent out. We spoke to the banks, but we have to do a better job of that. Another level of outreach. We saw the increase, and we need to do a better job of not only tracking the businesses, but also making sure we work with the lenders. It's supposed to be an automatic transaction, and it has occurred for many, but I believe knowledge is power, and we'll have to do a better job in that area, sir.
Thank you, Administrator. I do think we're still falling short in reaching every business. The businesses I've heard from in Delaware that have benefited from this, it's made a critical and timely difference. There's also a question that Senator Duckworth wanted me to ask. She's at an Armed Services Committee hearing. We've both worked on, it is a small technical issue. It was a drafting error, I'm convinced, in the CARES Act, but the cap for 7A and PPP are tied. We passed on a bipartisan basis here in the Senate a technical fix. It's been held up in the House. Just if you would speak briefly to how important is it to avoid a shutdown of the 7A loan program because of this drafting error?
We don't see an exposure on the 7A shutting down. We actually have available funds for that particular program. So I need to get back to you on that. I've not heard of any such position at this point. We're actually doing really well in our 504 and our Community Advantage. We're looking to develop another loan option for our underserved communities. So I look forward to getting back to you on that.
I'm happy to talk to you about it.
Please.
I know it's a minor issue, but it's been flagged by staff on both sides of the aisle, and I think we can work through it. 3 more quick questions, if I can. The CARES Act gave $200 million to the GAO for oversight. The ranking member, Senator Cardin, referenced this. The SBA makes data on individual loans available on its website for the 7A loan program, and the administration says it plans to do so for PPP loans at a future date. Why haven't you made individual loan PPP data available? And can you assure us that the GAO is going to get the access to the data they need to do their job of oversight within the executive branch?
I can comment on that. So,
thank you, Secretary.
First of all, let me just say we absolutely believe in transparency, and we were very clear across the programs on agreeing to significant transparency, especially in the Fed facilities, which weren't required. As it relates to the names and amounts of specific PPP loans, we believe that that's proprietary information. And in many cases, for sole proprietors and small businesses, is confidential information. So the reason why we're not disclosing the names in individual amounts, unlike in the 7A program, is because of that issue. But we are working with the GAO from an oversight to make sure that they're comfortable and they do have access to information.
Thank you, Secretary. I do think it's critical the GAO have access to all the data they need to do their job. And a quick question for you, Mr. Secretary, to follow up on something Senator Kennedy referenced. As retail and hospitality are reopening, their supply chains, which often rely on credit, are finding, 3 months later, there's a lot of concern about the cost. There's much more liquidity, but credit insurance and factors are becoming a key blockage. I've heard from a number of restaurateurs and folks in retail that rely on credit to finance restarting, that they're really having difficulty. I hope you're looking at credit insurance and sort of the backstop end of the credit side of those supply chains.
Yes, and I'm happy to follow up with you and your office on that.
Thank you. Your engagement's been terrific. If I could ask just one last question. It's been referenced by—
Have you looked at the clock?
I am. I'm a minute and 45 over, and in 15 seconds, I'll simply say I hope for a positive response on a bill referenced by Senators Cardin and Shaheen that we're introducing for a prioritized paycheck protection program for a genuinely small business that has suffered significant revenue loss. It would give them a chance for another PPP loan if they've responsibly completed one, given that we have $140 billion in unused funds. Thank you for your forbearance.